Now, where are we in terms of the hire process? Well, we've got our kit on site now, and it's at this point that sometimes things go wrong and you get an on-site breakdown. Now, depending on what piece of kit that is, that can have an impact in terms of the client, the customer's productivity. They may have people standing around because they can't carry out a crucial part of what they're doing, their processes, and a site manager now becomes under real pressure because this is costing him time and money. So when a call comes into you to report a breakdown, you need people on the end of the phone who are helpful and who understand the urgency and the importance of this situation, but who can also calmly talk people through a few checks that they may be able to do just to see if they can get the kit back up and running, or put them in touch with someone who can have that more technical conversation. Because this conversation isn't about dispatching an engineer to a site. This conversation is about a first-time fix and making sure an engineer goes to site equipped to be able to help that customer in that situation. So the people on the end of the phone can ask a few key questions to help identify what was happening prior to the breakdown, and communicate that information to the engineer so that the engineer can be thinking about what might have happened on the way to the breakdown, perhaps even taking some parts or spares with them as well. So Guy, how can a system help with a breakdown on site?
Yeah, great. So once we have tried to fix it over the phone and that hasn't worked, then we know we need to get a technician out on site. And what can we do to make this the most efficient process it can be? Well, ideally, we want to make sure that we have software that allows us to map out and plan those technicians. We know that technicians jump around from site to site wherever they're needed. And we need to understand where they are now, how long we think it's going to be until they leave whichever site it is. And then we can then work out which is the best technician to go to the next site. So that's really key to get that optimization piece right, because we've got a lot of technicians out there, they're doing a lot of different things, and we don't want them crossing over and therefore, not being as optimized as they could be. But once they get on site, it's more, again, as Diane was saying, about that first time fix. So what opportunity does the software have to help with that? And we've got ideas like, well, we need to make sure that we're controlling the stock they have in their vans. Is the ERP software actually helping control that? Do we have a van stock solution? And that means that they should be going to site fully stocked, or at least we are aware of what they don't have, so that we can make sure that they have the right tools to do the job. Once they get on site, well, okay, we're thinking about how can we make sure that we have the right information for that technician? So things like, do they have access to the digital manual through the software? Do they have access to the telematics data? Again, ideally through the ERP software and not through individual telematics providers. All of those can really assist the technician. We also want to make sure that they have access to the history of that piece of equipment. Every bit of equipment has a history that can really help those technicians know what's gone wrong in the past and what potentially is now also the problem. So there's a lot of opportunity there for good advanced software to help the technician on site get that first time fix.